You ever watch a practice and realize you're witnessing a turning point? That's what insiders are still talking about from Wednesday afternoon at the Browns facility. A routine 7-on installation, until the drills turned into a live, unfiltered audition for who actually runs this offense. Reports claim the moment was immediate. The opening repetitions painted a picture so clear that anyone with a clipboard or a headset could see the future shift under their feet. This wasn't a close call. It wasn't two guys trading decent reps. It was a performance gulf so large, it stopped people mid-warm-up and asked them to choose sides. From the first drive, Shedeur Sanders stepped in like he'd been running that offense for years, not weeks. Footwork crisp, progressions firing at game speed, throws landing exactly where the route concepts demanded. Coaches who had been skeptical all preseason suddenly found themselves leaning forward. Receivers glanced at each other, and the look said everything. This is the guy. You could feel the offense snap into a different tempo when Shedeur was under center. The line worked with him. The backs trusted the timing. The route windows tightened because the ball arrived on schedule. It was fluid, confident, professional. The kind of quarterbacking that makes a coordinator sleep better at night. Then the contrast. Dillon Gabriel's day unraveled fast. Sources describe moment-to-moment panic, late decisions, flushes to his right, throws behind receivers, a timing precision that dissolved into hesitant rhythm. Plays designed to be quick hits became off-tempo messes. The red zone turned into a highlight reel for everything going wrong. Misreads, disrupted cadence, and then an interception that stopped the field cold. Coaches put hands on heads. Position assistants exchanged looks. Veteran receivers walked back to the huddle shaking their heads. Not subtle disapproval, but the sharp kind that says this isn't just a bad day. This is a problem. If the early stuff sowed the seeds of doubt, the highlight that followed did the rest. Shedeur allegedly threaded a 45-yard touchdown between two defenders. A pass so precise it wasn't flashy for the sake of it, it was surgical. Placement over the shoulder, timing that split coverage, and a touch that let the receiver outrun both doubt and the safety. The kind of play that has linemen chest bumping, receivers pounding chests, even defenders nodding like they'd just watched a masterclass. That single rep changed the mood of the entire field. Energy that had been flat suddenly roared. Celebration can be deceptive in practice, but this celebration was honest. The group knew what they'd just witnessed. Right after that, the script flipped again, only this time in the opposite direction. Dillon came back in, and the facility exhaled into silence. A wide check down missed by distance, timing routes that shattered against the turf, a sack that looked more like a breakdown than a good defensive play. No, you've got this from teammates. Just an uncomfortable, heavy quiet. That silence wasn't cruelty. It was collective recognition. The gap had gone from concerning to undeniable. Players stopped searching for the polite, supportive clap and started looking for answers. And Dillon, you could see it, felt the collapse happening in real time. They ran team period hurry-up simulation next, and it was an exposé. Shedeur marched the offense downfield on 5 consecutive plays. Crisp reads, efficient throws, decisions without hesitation. It read like a condensed version of a 4-quarter drive squeezed into 5 plays. When Dillon stepped in afterward, everything slowed and then stalled. Overthrow, a busted timing route. Protection holes suddenly yawning. Receivers drifted a few feet away instinctively. Running backs huddled nearer to Shedeur, as if proximity to competence had become its own form of protection. Offensive linemen rotated subtly, so that when the ball snapped, the body language looked like a unified front only for one quarterback. That wasn't team theater. That was the roster aligning itself in real time. Tensions that had been simmering officially boiled over on the sideline. Sources say Dillon approached Shedeur visibly upset, not just about a missed throw, but about what he perceived as teammates drifting towards the other signal caller. Words were exchanged. The moment leaned toward confrontation. Shedeur didn't escalate. He didn't match heat for heat. According to those there, he simply pointed back to the field, as if answering a question Dillon hadn't known how to ask. Watch the results. Coaches and cameras converged, staffers moved in to separate, and players formed a human buffer. Practice nearly stopped on the spot. It was ugly, tense, and for anyone watching it felt like a decisive scene in a drama where a new lead had just staked his claim. The post-practice fallout was as telling as the reps themselves. Coaches left the field avoiding specifics. Kevin Stefanski declined to answer detailed questions about rep splits or the sideline confrontation, and that silence spoke volumes. Sometimes what a coach doesn't say is the loudest part of the message. In the locker room, you didn't need an official memo. Players already felt the hierarchy shift. One insider summed it up bluntly. Dillon watched his job slip away in real time. Shedeur didn't ask permission. He took it through performance. That kind of organic leadership, earned through play, not press conferences, is impossible for a room full of professionals to ignore. The ripple effects reach beyond the practice bubble. Front office brass and evaluators who pushed for Dillon's third-round pedigree now have to confront uncomfortable questions about scouting, developmental timelines, and judgment calls. The narrative that was supposed to be Dillon for the future, Shedeur for competition, flipped into Shedeur is the present. Agents are paying attention. Reports suggest Dillon's camp is watching options, trade possibilities, reps elsewhere, ways to preserve his developmental arc. And for a franchise that had draft night controversy swirling around the very selection of Shedeur, this performance felt to some like validation, while to others it read like organizational interference finally proving right. There's also a human side that the headlines might miss. Imagine being a quarterback who was drafted with a plan in place. Development, repetition, trust building. Now imagine watching someone else come in and accelerate the timeline by doing exactly what you were supposed to grow into. That psychological pressure compounds technical mistakes. What was once a solvable mechanical issue becomes an echo chamber of doubt. For Dillon, the stakes aren't hypothetical. This was the point where fans, teammates, coaches, and executives all started to see the same picture. And that picture didn't favor him. It becomes harder to rebuild confidence when every rep is contrasted against another quarterback who's delivering near-flawless work. For Shedeur, the day was a career statement, results instead of rhetoric. His camp has stayed quiet publicly, letting the tape and reactions do the talking. That quiet is purposeful. When performance speaks, you don't need to shout. Teammates rewarded him in the moment with real emotion. Not for show, but because they just found someone who made their jobs easier. That's the kind of currency that buys organizational patience and reshapes conversations in the front office. When players start altering their body language on the field, the personnel maps begin to redraw themselves. So what happens now? The easy answer is nothing immediate. Roster moves still require decisions, contracts, and optics. But the harder truth is that Wednesday changed the clock. Whether the Browns announce a starter tomorrow, stall the decision into preseason games, or attempt to ride this out until the regular season, the locker room has felt the change. The team's public messaging will be cautious, but inside the building, the tempo has shifted. Executives in other front offices are already circling. Analysts are rewriting narratives, and the network of agents and scouts are reclassifying talent. When a practice writes the headlines the front office prefers to avoid, you know the implications are real. Here's the part most people forget. Football is a game of trust. Quarterbacks don't just throw the ball. They buy confidence from receivers, protection from linemen, and rhythm from the whole unit. When one quarterback starts to earn those small, repeated investments, trust on every snap, the rest of the team organizes itself around that center. That's what happened Wednesday. Players didn't gather around Shedeur because of a jersey or a coach's memo. They did it because the ball arrived where it needed to arrive, when it needed to arrive.